Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm Christina Larero, a certified angel messenger and angel Reiki master teacher. My spiritual journey began in the spring of 2022 when my spirit team nudged me to listen to the amazing Angels and Awakening podcast by Julie Jancis. Since then, I've been learning to use my spiritual gifts and growing increasingly curious about spirituality and the various healing modalities. I'm so excited for you to join me on this special journey as we dive into spirituality and healing while exchanging our wisdom and profound insights with other remarkable healers. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, get cozy, and let's embark on the spiritual journey together. Hey there, it's Christina the Angel Messenger here. I just wanted to remind you to stay connected with me for all the latest updates and angel messages. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Christina Angel Messenger. Remember, that's Christina. If you're interested in an angel Reiki session, you can book one virtually or in person through my website at www.christinaangelmessenger.com. Remember, that's Christina angelmessenger.com. Stay tuned for more uplifting, insightful content on this podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, lovely souls. Welcome back to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I have a wonderful healer on this podcast today. Her name is Susanne. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Perfect. So I always love the guests to start by introducing themselves. So who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm Susanne Kooijman. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm 42 and I'm a spiritual guide and healer. And it is really my mission to help women reconnect to their inner self and their true strength and really their magic through self-healing.
Oh, I love that. So I always like to ask our guests as well, if they feel comfortable, can you give us a brief story of your spiritual awakening?
Oh, well, brief. It's not really brief though. I always had an interest in like spiritual topics. When I was in my early 20s, I would purchase books on Buddhism and yoga. So that's already like 20 years ago when it wasn't like cool to do so.
Wow.
And yeah, there was always this fascination and interest and always like an inner knowing that there was more to, than what we just see with our physical eyes. And I was always very intuitive and highly sensitive. So those topics just really connected to me in that sense. And later on in life, I've dealt with severe anxiety, and that was also, my sensitive side. I was always just overstimulated and did not know how to handle that and deal with that. And I really had to come to my own essence and my own strength through that self-healing to discover my inner magic and my power. And it was tested along the way, that's for sure, because about 10 years ago, I had a severe accident where I almost died, and that led to PTSD and just a mental disorder as well. And I lost again that total connection to myself and to my body. And through the last 10 years, again, I fell back onto my self-healing and in search of that connection with myself and my body as well. And yeah, it was a long process, but I can say I'm finally fully healed of that mental disorder and of PTSD. And it was all through that power of self-healing and reconnecting me to my inner strength, really.
That's amazing. I love how you had it in your knowingness already that you were interested in spirituality and you even started looking into it before it was really popular and really well
Yeah.
known.
Yeah, and it was almost a bit embarrassing because you're like, why am I already like in my early 20s interested in topics like this,
Yeah.
because at the time you would relate it to a bit more like these hippie people, like the older people. And I was just young and I was also a music journalist at the time, so those two worlds would collide a lot.
Oh,
So I was, backstage a lot, hanging out with artists, interviewing them, writing about festivals and concerts,
yeah.
and the other side I was on my yoga mat. So yeah, but it was really for me like a fascinating journey of really that self-discovery, because as I had that anxiety for so many years, I had it like from start to finish. It was about a 10-year journey to
Yeah.
really heal from my extreme phobia and anxiety. And it was, to me, that's just a journey of not so much it's just healing, but also like a journey of self-discovery, like getting to know you and also your strength and why you react or respond to the way that you do. And later on in life, when I had that traumatic event and my PTSD, that also was a journey of like 10 years to discover, like, okay, it's like a repeating pattern, right? You have to
Yeah.
discover yourself all over again. And yeah, it was a long and hard journey, because at first I didn't even know what the mental disorder was that I had that was stemming
Mm.
from that PTSD. And through Dr. Google and a lot of research, I finally found out what happened to me, and I had a conversion disorder, which was literally like my
Mm.
mind was telling my body something that I wasn't safe, and I
Oh,
would
wow.
collapse because my body didn't feel safe. So, and at the time of my traumatic event, that actually saved my life, but now it didn't anymore. It was now harming me because I was often in
Mm.
hospital with bruises and even needed stitching, and it was now harming me instead of saving me. So that
Wow.
conversion disorder was something I had to figure out myself, how to deal with my triggers, how to reconnect to my body, and how to actually feel safe again. Because my mind was constantly telling me that I wasn't safe when I actually was. So I really had to get back to like the calmness within myself, and in that connection with my body, I found, because I was always like thinking my fear away and projecting it to
Mhm.
the outside, like, okay, as long as I like ignore it and think everything away, it will disappear. Yeah, that's not how it works. So I really had to find that connection to my body and actually start to relax and find that calm center within myself, from my body to my mind instead of the other way
Yeah.
around. And that was what really, like, it helped me so much in my healing process. And I was so excited about actually getting to share this with my audience. Like, oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
is so amazing. When you calm your body, it sends a signal to your brain that you are safe. And it wasn't an easy thing to do, of course, because when your body feels you a lot, you
Right.
tend to not have a strong connection with the body. So it was a slow build up that I went to work out as well. Before I didn't do that. So it was also for me almost like a fun challenge to see where my body would take me. And
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, and it was like experiment, and also again that self-discovery. Like, I always loved to dance, but I hadn't done that in a long time. So I
Mm.
started to take dance lessons again. And that's another way for me to really connect with my body and see how strong it is and what I can do with it, and how I can stretch my boundaries where it still feels safe. And I really had to build that trusting connection again with my body. And for me, it was through dance and through that self healing that I found that again. And for others, it could be yoga or mindful walking or running, or I don't know, even more extreme things like lifting weights, or you have to find that thing that really works for you and your body at that time. And you can always expand from there, because now I'm lifting weights as well. So it's really just how you want to, where you want to put that focus. Like, first, okay, start to explore what your body is capable of, where
Yeah.
it can lead you. So let your body lead the way, I always want to say. And you can even look back, like, okay, what did I enjoy as a kid? Because I was a ballet dancer for 13 years and I love to dance. So when I started to take dance classes again, it was like, it was a positive thing that I could connect to my
Yeah.
body, right? So, and it was wonderful to focus on my body being this positive vessel and not just the one that brought me sorrow and pain.
Yeah, and I think there's something really amazing about our body is that our body really is an entity of its own. So it really has the compatibility for certain things, and but if it
Mhm.
doesn't, it'll tell you. You'll feel
Right.
the aches and the pains.
Yeah.
Um,
Your body
but
is
our mind
constantly
is
speaking
just
to
so
you.
powerful. Sorry.
Oh, now I was saying, yeah, your body is constantly speaking to you. You just have to be aware to its messages, because sometimes it can come as like a little, like the hairs are standing, on your arm, or you feel a little flutter in your belly, or it can be simple things like that, of course. But also when you feel constantly your shoulders like they're up to your ears, that's also sending
Mhm.
you a message that you're not comfortable, or you're trying to solve everyone's problems and take on all the weight of the world on your shoulders. And so it's such a wonderful, like, explorative technique to find out, like, okay, what is actually going on in my body, and to have that connection, especially for us as women, because we tend to be like, our focus is a lot on our outward appearance, and
Yeah.
especially on social media, and in the even like on the bigger like media platforms, women are like scrutinized against each other, and have to be like, oh, do you see how she looks now? Oh, I'm sure she had plastic surgery. And
Yeah.
there's so much negativity around a woman's body and expressing herself freely in her body. So it's so important to have that positive connection to your body, to really become your most empowered self, and listen, give your body almost like a voice, because it is speaking to you. You just have to be aware and be open to listen to it.
Yeah, our body is our part of our messenger.
Mm.
You
So
know,
true.
that's kind of like the first place where we start to really learn our intuition is, you just ask yourself simple question and then you let your
Mhm.
body answer for you.
Yeah. You can
It's
even
kind of
ask
like
your body,
food.
like, where is my stress located now? Where
Yeah.
is it in my body? And then you can send some extra love, or just does that awareness of where you're holding on to something in your body can already help you to release it. Because to me, like, that healing always starts with a sense of awareness, because you can't heal what you're not aware of. So when you ask your body, okay, where am I holding tension? What am I feeling right now? Where am I struggling? What am I holding on to in my body? You will feel it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good exercise for anybody is just to stay still for a few minutes and just ask,
Oh, yeah.
where am I holding stress? It could be one, two, three, it might be more
Yeah.
places, and just tend to that areas. Like for example, like for me, I get stress headaches a lot. So
Mhm.
for me, I'm like, oh, I was really stressed out today. I really gotta get back and center myself. And sometimes I'll do like a little meditation at night.
Mhm.
Can't always do it during the workday, but I'd be like, okay, the body's trying to tell me that I'm holding too much stress that I need to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good exercise. I also love to, when I wake up, one of my favorite techniques, since I've started this healing process, is to ask myself, okay, how am I going to honor myself today?
Ooh,
Yeah. I thought the same when that question just really popped up in my mind one morning. I was like, and I had that same reaction, like, ooh.
yeah, I mean, that's a really profound question to ask yourself.
Yeah, and it could be, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be like something big that you have to do. But sometimes it's, I just pick a word of the day, like, what is my body needing right now? What am I needing right now? And sometimes it can just be rest. So when
Exactly.
I allow myself to have that rest, and not just focus on doing, but just on, or sometimes my word of the day is also allowing, like allowing what comes to you, to accept it, and to just what is, let it be. So you can just pick a word of the day, or a sentence of the day, or even like an action of the day, or say, how
Mm.
do I want to feel at the end of this day? Do I want to feel rested? Do I want to feel accomplished? Do I want to feel balanced? Or, yeah, you can take it wherever you want to, but it's just a nice way to actually focus on yourself before you start your day.
That, and I think it's really powerful to know what your body needs, especially if it's rest. I think with the society that we're in, it's always a go, go, go. We need to
Yeah.
always be doing something. But if you don't allow your body to rest, it's just going to break down.
Mm,
And there's nothing wrong with having a rest day. For example,
exactly.
my rest days are usually Sundays. And
Hmm.
I'm like, all right, I'm just going to allow my body to rest. If I'm not productive, then I'm not productive.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I
but
would
also,
always use my productivity as like a badge of honor. And it was
yeah,
like, okay, now it's not my self-care, and my self-love is now going to be my badge of honor. I don't care what everyone thinks around me.
yeah,
And I was always the one who was the harshest critic, I was like, I'm having such a lazy day. But then you tend to say, like, because lazy tends to be quite negative, right? And
yes.
when you say, okay, it's not a lazy day, it's actually a day to rest and to recuperate and to fill my own cup. Because if I'm not filling my own cup, then I don't have enough energy to, give to others. So I have to fill up my own cup first before I can be like the healer and the guide that I feel I need to be, So I have to be there for myself first before I can give to others. And that's not a selfish thing to do as well. That's very important to know.
No, it's really not, and I think we need to tell people more that it's okay to rest, it's okay to recharge. I mean, as
Yeah, it's even
healers.
like more than okay, it's necessary.
Yes.
It's absolutely necessary for you to, if you want to be your best self, your most healthy self, your most magical self, you have to rest. And there are more ways than just one to rest. You can have like emotional rest, you can have like a sleep, you can have something like a social media rest, even where you're like, okay, I'm going to just focus on like reading a book. And that's
Yeah.
also a kind of rest. It doesn't have to be just taking a nap, but you define what your rest is and what you need at that time. Again, let your body speak to you and what it needs.
Yeah, I mean, our body is our vessel, it
Absolutely.
really is what drives us besides our spiritual self.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we tend to be so mind focused. And
Yeah.
of course, we have that wonderful word mindfulness, which is, of
Mhm.
course, being in the present moment and allowing to what is, to just be, and for yourself to let your thoughts just come and go as they are, which is awesome. But we have
Yeah.
also a new term that's called bodyfulness. So being aware of what your body is thinking, feeling, and let it just be, and no judgment of if you're feeling tensed, or just allowing it to be there, giving it a signal like, okay, it's safe now to relax. And that's also bodyfulness, just being present with your body and the messages that it is sending you throughout the day.
Yeah. And what spirit was showing me as we were talking about the body is sometimes if I had a long day in the shower, I'll say, God, universe, source, just remove any energy that no longer is serving me and replenish my energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
used a mantra that was very effective for me when I was going on a long travel. I was literally on like a 27-hour flight,
yeah.
and it was to the other side of the world. and and I was really having to focus on me, because of course there's a lot going on. You share a plane with a lot of people, and
Yeah.
not everyone is, as quiet as you like them to be. And sometimes, there's kids on there and they tend to, be loud, which of
Mhm.
course makes sense. But sometimes I would have to just block all those energies off, and I would
Yeah.
constantly repeat a mantra to myself: my energy is my own.
Ooh, yeah.
That's it. Just that one line. My energy is my own, and that would just center me so much that what was going on around me, I could like block that out, and it was like a shield, an energy shield, with just my energy is my own, and it would just focus back on myself and on
Yeah.
my body, and I would just feel so much calmer and so much more relaxed, and I didn't even need like these sound blocking headphones or
Yeah.
anything.
That's really powerful. Mantras can be very powerful if you
Absolutely.
really put the intention to the mantra.
Exactly. You have to really feel it. You have to work with a mantra or even like with an affirmation that you can feel. Not just the words can be so powerful if you set the right intention behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in my bedroom when I'm getting up in the morning, I have a few affirmations on there and I just look at them every day. They're more
Mhm.
future driven. But that's just there to remind myself like I can do this. Because not every day is perfect and not
Mhm.
every day is rainbows and sunshines. There are, real world things that are happening, but it just kind of recenters you for the day and just be like, all
Yeah.
right, this is my intention. This is my affirmation, my mantra. Start
Mhm.
off my day.
Yeah, and it's also important to remind yourself, like you said, not every day is rainbows and sunshine, and that's okay too. Because especially when I was healing from my PTSD, I had my good days, my bad days, my very bad days, and my very good days. And I was learning to really embrace all of those and not be
Yeah.
judgmental when I was having a bad day. Because when I would be triggered and my anxiety would be a bit higher than normal, I would be like, okay, thank you, anxiety, for being here, for showing me the way and teaching me,
Yeah.
but I am okay and I'm safe. And I
Yeah.
would not judge myself for feeling that because I was always disappointed before when I would feel that anxiety again. Like, oh my gosh, am I not over this by now? I shouldn't be anxious anymore. But when I started to embrace it, I would even thank the anxiety for being there and say, okay, you've done your job, but you're okay to leave now. I am okay, I'm safe. And
Mm.
it would change a lot for me just how you speak to yourself and that self-compassion that you can have for yourself on your bad days. Because like you said, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. We have our bad days. And that's okay too, because I always see them as opportunities to grow. And I know that sounds so cheesy, especially when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want a lesson. I just want to be rid of this anxiety, be rid of this trauma, PTSD.
Yeah.
And I know when I was dealing with it, I felt the same. I was so angry when I would have like
Yeah.
another trigger that would cause my PTSD and my disorder to like erupt almost. And I would feel bad at that time. And of course, that
Mhm.
even that is okay too. You're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to feel grief for the person that you
Yes.
once felt you were and that you're now not at the moment. But you can get on the other side again. And you can be that empowered you again because believe me, I've been there. I've been at rock
Mm.
bottom and even like below rock bottom where I just didn't feel life made sense for me anymore. And just like trusting in yourself, that knowing, having that inner knowing that you will be okay, that is your anchor that you can then hold on to and know that it's okay to have bad days, but know that better days are coming, definitely.
I think we're also our hardest critics. So when we do
Yeah.
have a bad day, we're always blaming ourselves or blaming something because of the bad day. But I
Yeah.
love how you said that you thank your anxiety because anxiety really does protect us. It just doesn't know how to protect us.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah. It
mean?
doesn't always express itself in the best way or the most comfortable way for you, but that's not what
Exactly.
it's there to do, of course. It's there to warn you, keep you safe. And yeah, that's the most important task for it to do. And that's what it's doing. It's like when you feel like that moment, like that shiver within you, like, oh dear, what's going on? And you're like, oh wait, I'm actually safe.
Yeah.
Then allow yourself to feel. I say feel it all to heal it all, because if you like suppress it, ignore it, push it away, it's like pushing a ball underwater. The harder you push it,
Yeah.
okay, the more difficult it is to push it down. And you can't really ever push it down because it takes so much strength to actually hold it there. But when you let go for a bit, it just comes back up and even louder and harder than you than you wanted to.
Mhm.
So just
Yeah.
I always say like be self compassionate when you are feeling these thoughts of like depression, anxiety, or anything negative. It's be your own best friend, even in the hardest times, because we are, like you said, we are our harshest critics. But how would you talk to your own best friend who's sitting there beside you and saying like, "Oh, I feel so bad. I feel so depressed." Would you give them a hug, or would you say it will be okay and I'm here for you? Why aren't we saying that to ourselves?
Yeah, and that's a really good point is uh, it's like giving advice. We give advice to our friends, but then we don't take our own advice.
Right.
And that's the same thing with our emotions. And we need to be more self-compassionate towards ourselves, like we are towards
Yeah.
our parents or our friends or our children. It's
Yeah.
that self-love. I will never forget my mentor in college. Passed away a few years ago, and I remember her saying my first year in college, she said, "Talk to yourself as you were talking to a daughter."
Right.
And from then on, that lit a light bulb moment that to me, I'm like, all right, I didn't do great on a test, or I didn't do have a great day. How would I comfort my daughter? Well,
Hmm.
not that I have one, but it was kind of that like mentality of if you had one, how would you comfort her on a bad day, or if she didn't do great on it? a project or a test or something.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important to hear is that you really need to be self-compassionate towards yourself. If that
Yeah.
analogy helps you, talking to yourself as you have a child, I think that's really almost comforting because
Mhm.
when you're not gonna, like, yell at a child, be like, "You had an awful day, da, 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 da." You're gonna wanna give it hugs and love and comfort.
Right. Yeah, you can look at her as you like your own inner child because your inner child never
Yes.
leaves you. It's still there. So you can talk to your younger version of yourself and say like, "You're okay. You're safe now. It's okay to have a bad day." And you can picture her as, you're the younger version
Yeah.
of yourself that's always there with you and that has lived through it all with you by your side. So, and also I believe a lot in, in spirits and angels and spirit guides, guardian angels. And when you get to connect with them, I do that through meditation, and you feel the love that they have for you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you would never doubt anything ever again.
No, and our, guides, angels, inner child, God, universe, source are always with us.
Yeah.
I'll never ever forget. It was when I was first starting my spiritual journey. There was one day that I couldn't connect, and I was like, "All right, maybe this isn't for me. Like, I'm done. I'm over it."
Yeah.
And so I started getting really emotional, and I was crying. And then I felt Archangel Michael. I've literally felt his wings around me as a hug. And at that moment, I was like, "No, I don't want the hug. I'm making this up." And looking at it hindsight 2020, it really was him giving me a hug and saying, "You just had a bad day."
Hmm. You're okay. Yeah, well, you're
Yeah.
protected. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a similar experience once where I was trying to connect to my spirit team, as I call them, and
Yeah.
it stayed silent. And usually I hear them, I hear them
Right.
from like this voice, this inner voice that I just recognize. And because it feels different, it feels so loving and caring. It's not
Yeah.
like your ego or it's
No.
filled with love and support. And when I was trying to connect with them, it stayed silent. And I was like, "Hmm, okay, this is a new experience. Why is it silent? And why am I not getting any messages? I need some reassurance. I need some love right now. I could really
Mhm.
use it." And nothing was there. And then okay, I just went on with my day, and I saw a beautiful line in, I think it was in a book where it was very reassuring. And then I suddenly heard a voice like, "Messages don't always come as you expect them, how you expect them to."
Yeah.
So yeah, also be open to, sign synchronicities, lyrics, books, whatever it is that moves you and touches you. Those can be signs from, your spirit team that they're there and there to support you.
Yeah, absolutely. Our spirit team has so many different ways to connect with us, like you said.
Mm,
A few weeks ago, I just had this knowingness to take the long route home. And I was like,
mm,
"Why am I doing that?" And they're just like, "Go with it." And I was like,
mhm.
"Okay."
Justice on
And
this.
then this song on the radio came, which is back from like 2010 or something. It was like 10 or 12 years old. And I was like, why is this song playing? And then I was like, they're like, "Listen to the lyrics. There's a message embedded in there." And I was like, wow, I would have not listened to this song because my normal route home would not been able to hear it.
Right.
So it's not always like, sitting in meditation and getting the messages. It's
Yeah.
the signs that we get and the
Yeah.
lyrics and sometimes even conversations.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I also believe like in human angels, like earth angels.
The
And I
same, yeah.
remember being like when I was on that same plane ride, I first went to Australia and I had a stopover in Singapore. And I'd never had a stopover before because I only traveled within Europe, and now I was traveling
Mm,
outside of Europe. And I knew was also like my flight was delayed, so I didn't know if I would make the actual like transfer
yeah.
flight. And there were these wonderful two, a couple was sitting next to me. I was traveling alone, so this couple was sitting next to me, and they were saying, "Oh, we will help you out. We will walk you to your gate,
Oh,
even."
yeah.
And because they were known in like it's called like the Singapore airport, and I wasn't. And
Mm.
so they were literally walking me to my gate.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
amazing.
like, Ah, they were so beautiful. And I remember on the flight back, had the same layover on Singapore airport, and I bought some earrings there that were angel wings because they reminded
Yeah.
me of them. So yeah, there are earth angels among us as well.
And yes, absolutely. Earth angels are highly among us as well. I mean, they're also like doctors and therapists, but I also believe certain people in our lives are earth angels. You just have
Absolutely.
this certain connection with certain people,
Yeah.
and it's really undescribable
Hmm.
how you just instantly feel a connection with somebody. It could be
Yeah.
because you had a past life or that you were on the other side together. I mean,
Yeah.
or their energy just reminds you of somebody. I
Hmm.
mean, it's
Yeah,
just
you
beautiful.
just feel an instant connection. And with these people that were sitting next to me on the plane, I actually saw them at the airport where we were entering the plane. I saw them. We were both looking for the same gate, and we were just
Mhm.
casually talking. And I thought, oh, these people are so nice and they're so friendly. And we didn't know at the time that we would be sitting next to each other. So so when we each went our own way, I was getting a drink, and then later
Yeah.
on we met again, like in the actual airplane. And we are like, hey, you're here again. And, oh my gosh, we're actually sitting next to each other. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so meant to be that they are now helping me to get to my gate. And yeah, I don't think I would have made that transfer flight if it wasn't for them. So it was like meant to be. I thought they're
That
angels. I just feel it in my soul.
that was definitely a meant to be moment,
Oh yeah, for sure. It was
for
special.
sure. They were supposed to be there. They were supposed to help you. That was the angel, your spirit team's way of like giving you the reassurance that you are going to make that flight. We're going to
Yeah.
hand you some people that will take you there. And I think that's really beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah, because that trip that was like a 20-year dream of mine because I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings. I was actually flying to New
Oh, yeah.
Zealand to see some of the sites and sets as well. And I've been dreaming of that since I saw the first movie. And of course,
Mhm.
at that time, I couldn't travel far. I didn't even leave my house because I had a phobia.
Right.
So, and I always had that as like a number one on my bucket list. Like New
Mm.
Zealand was always at the top of that list. So it was amazing that I finally got to do that and had these wonderful earth angels on my path to help me to get there.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
think this is a perfect segue into healing habits.
Hmm.
Can you
Yeah.
explain to the listeners what are healing habits and maybe some examples?
Hmm. Yeah, healing habits are really just these self-healing techniques that you can make your own and that can help you heal. And of course, when you do them often enough, they become a habit.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and that can be anything from tapping to journaling. I love doing like you can do like a mind dump,
Yeah.
because especially at night we tend to just before we sleep, we tend to overthink our day or
Oh,
what we
yes.
did or what we didn't do or what we in our minds did wrong. So
Yeah.
it's great to do like this brain dump, mind dump, whatever you want to call it, and just write down whatever comes up for you. But it can also be like a breathing technique where you just really connect to your breath and also to your body. I like to combine like a deep breathing, deep belly breathing to a body scan where you just
Mm.
become aware of your body, where your tension is, and really like from head to toe, go from your forehead to your eyes to your ears, and just take it slow, take your time, and just set the intention to relax the parts of your body where you feel some tension while breathing deeply into your belly. Feel your belly
Mm.
expand and feel your chest and your rib cage expand. Just take the deepest breath you've taken all day and just feel the energy that comes with it
Yeah.
because your breath holds so much power and energy. And even when you find it difficult at first to focus on your breath, because when I had my anxiety, it was hard for me to focus
Yeah.
on my breath without it feeling triggering, to cause like a anxiety attack.
Right.
But then just focus on your body if it's too difficult for you. If it's just one breath, that's already fine. Try to
Yeah.
focus on your body and relaxing. And I think that breath will come with that relaxation as well. So if it's too hard for you, too difficult to focus just on your breath, focus on relaxation and your breath will
Mm.
automatically slow down. So that's a helpful tip, I think, as well. And what I did as well when I was in my healing process of my PTSD is I did tapping. And with tapping, that's like EFT, emotional feeling, you
Yeah.
tap on certain points in your body. It's like an acupuncture for the brain. That's also what it's called. And you tap on these points in your body that are like energy points. And when you state an affirmation while doing that, you can actually like rewire your brain and go from anxiety to positivity. And I did that when I was healing from my conversion disorder and my PTSD because I so wanted to reconnect to my body and feel safe in my body. So I made these statements like, I am safe. I am
Mm,
ready to heal. My body is my friend. I'm allowing myself to feel calm and to feel rested. And I did that while tapping on all these different points.
yeah.
And I did that in the morning as well, when I would also state like, how am I going to honor myself today?
Yeah.
And it was just this moment of self-care and self-healing that would just build my foundation for my day. And I would relax. I would feel calmer when I started my day saying these affirmations because was just that moment of connection
Mhm.
when I wasn't, usually I would rush in the morning, quickly do, my breakfast, get dressed, wash, and so on. And now I was giving myself a moment to center myself, to
Mm,
connect to myself. And how you set up your day like that, it changes how you focus, how your energy is, where your intention is. So when you set that motion in like, okay, I'm going to relax, I'm safe, I am okay, I'm allowing myself to heal and get all this healing energy. And yeah, your mind changes a lot and you feel that connection to your body. You feel that peace coming inside yourself. So that's a very important healing habit that I can advise anyone to do.
that's amazing, and there is, something different about how your day goes if
Mhm.
you have that moment. It literally can just be a moment where you're just,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
centering yourself and honoring what you are and how you how your day is envisioned to go.
Yeah.
For me, I notice when I don't take that moment, I can feel the energy of the day. It's not
Mhm.
like things just don't go right, and the energy
Yeah.
that of the work that I do doesn't feel right. So, and we're always on the go, go, go. So even just the moment of just getting up and just sitting or laying down for that
Mhm.
moment and just being like, all right, body, spirit team, what do you need me to know today? And it
Yeah.
could be a simple word or a sentence, and just go with what you hear. If you don't
Mhm.
hear, then what do you see? What do you sense? What do you have a knowingness of? Because
Yeah.
we
What do
all
you
have to.
feel? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be like this long, whiny thing. That's why I made my course Healing Habits because it's easy to do at home. You can do tapping for literally like 5 minutes, and that's it. You just tap with these affirmations on the points in your body,
yeah,
and it can make a shift in your day. And like I said, ask yourself the question, how am I going to honor myself today? And just feel what comes up for you. And it doesn't even have to make sense. But if it makes sense
yeah,
for you, that's all that matters. If you're like, okay, I really need some rest, or I really need some self-care, or I really need some movement, I really need to get out more, I need some nature, some fresh air. Just
yeah,
allow what comes up to come up and embrace that. And yeah, your day will change. And like I said, it doesn't have to take long. You don't have to block an hour in your already
no.
busy day, to do some stretching, make a green smoothie, or do a whole
Mm,
yoga and meditation session. It doesn't have to be. It's awesome if you have the time for that, and you
yeah,
know you can do that. Perfect, do it. But I always say find what feels good for you and what feels manageable for you, so that it then becomes a habit and not something to add to your already full to-do list.
yeah, and it can be something minuscule to add to your routine,
Yeah,
um, in the morning and the night. If you can't do, let's say you got kids and you're just go, go, go in the morning, then try to incorporate it at the night when the kids are sleeping,
yeah,
or vice versa, or maybe during your lunch, you just take
yeah,
a
exactly.
minute.
You can just like schedule like, even if it's just like 15 minutes, in your
Yeah.
day, like after or before lunch, just block a few minutes, just do a body scan, breathe deeply a few times, get that centeredness, within yourself again. And that's sometimes all you need to feel
Yeah.
better and lift your mind off some negativity or like some stuck energy that's in your body. You can, shake it out a bit, shake
Hmm.
your limbs and
Yeah.
just feel that relaxation coming to you because you hold a lot of tension, in your muscles
Hmm.
sometimes, a lot of the times even unconsciously. Just shake a bit, shake.
Yeah.
That's it. Move your body a bit. You can just do it, in the bathroom when you're on the and
That's
in the
literally what
office.
Spirit was whispering in my ear is even if you don't want to be seen shaking it
Right.
out or taking a breath, just go to the bathroom. No one's going to
Yeah,
question if you're going to the bathroom or not.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it
Sometimes
can
I'll
be
even
just these
do
little
like in the
moments.
car before I start the
Yeah,
car and take a couple deep breaths and just be
exactly.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, and
you know,
like this, I also do it like before interviews whether I'm interviewed or I'm interviewing someone else.
yeah,
Like the 5 minutes before, I just do a short meditation to get
yeah,
myself centered and to ask my spirit guides, okay, let this be, a good interview. I hope it inspires people. I hope,
yeah.
because English is not my first language, so I always ask
Hmm.
them like, allow me to find the words that I need right now. And yeah, and just this moment of centering and grounding and returning back to yourself, it's golden, and it can take only a few minutes. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
easy to
few
do, but very
minutes.
effective.
Yeah, a few minutes. Even sometimes my spirit team will just be like, put your hands on the ground.
Mm.
Or, you know, they usually tell me when I'm at home because I'm surrounded by trees and things. So they'll be like, all right, put your hands on the soil, put your hands in the grass or your bare feet. And that's really
Right.
grounding as well as when you're connecting with nature,
Yeah, very much
is
so.
that you
And
just
it
feel
doesn't
that
have to,
energy.
yeah, you can, just take a walk outside, even like in the park. My soul always just craves to be outside when I've been indoors for a while, when you've been
Yeah,
busy
that makes
working,
sense.
and I just need fresh air. And I'm lucky to have a garden, so I just go inside my garden
Mm,
and just sit there, breathe deeply for a bit, and just look at the flowers that I have, look at the plants that are there. And I love to grow my own food, so I have these little strawberry plants, paprika plants,
mm,
and
yeah,
some herbs, and I just love to see them grow. And if you just focus on that for a minute, you can, and even when you have like a small balcony, or you can make like this little sanctuary for yourself,
yeah.
you can just take some plants and get nature indoors. That helps a lot for your mood as well.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of a Amazon commercial that's been playing here recently, is that
Mhm.
this girl is in the inner city and she's in this huge apartment building so that she doesn't have like, a backyard or all she has is a balcony. So what she does is she goes on Amazon and buys all these plants. So when you're looking in
Mm.
the building, all you see is all her greenery. And that
Oh,
brought her peace is to be connected with the nature while she's in the inner city.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I have quite a few plants here. Not all of them do very well, but I try my best. But yeah, luckily a lot of them are just doing well and thriving, so that's good. But I've lost some plants along the way, of course. But yeah, I
Yeah.
love to grow. I love being outdoors and just grow my own foods whenever I can. And I'm a bit into herbalism as well, so I'm just trying
Mhm.
new things and trying to make my little creams with some lavender or chamomile. And especially it's fun when you can get to grow this on your own. But like I said, you don't have to have a garden to be able to grow some plants or grow some herbs, or have little strawberry plants on your windowsill. So yeah, just bring nature indoors, and that will shift a lot of it. It will shift negative energy out. I mean, it's
Yeah.
that flow, that natural flow you bring back into your home, and by doing so, will also invite it into your life again.
Yeah. Plants, animals, they all absorb the negativity. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I don't have any pets, but when I go to my brother's house, he has two dogs. And
Hmm.
you can just feel the difference in how they're absorbing the energy or how they're putting out the positivity energy out
Right.
there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I don't have pets myself as well. So
Yeah, but
I
you have the plants. The
I
plants are
do exactly.
doing the
Yeah,
same thing.
and when I'm outside in my garden, I see birds.
Yeah.
So that makes me very happy as well. I'm like this bird whisperer. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just, I talk to them and like, oh, do you want some food? I have a little bird bath as well where they can get
Yeah.
to, drink or bathe, and it's so cute.
Yeah, I have the same thing outside as I have a couple feeders and a bird bath.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'll just sit out there and just be like, whatever birds want to come. And
Yeah.
and they'll be so funny because sometimes my grandfather would come through as a blue jay and I'm like, oh, I want to take a picture, and he'll just fly away because
All
in
right.
when he was on here in the earth, he hated pictures. That was not his thing.
Yeah.
So that's another moment where I can always tell that it's him. But I always ask, like, are there any birds that want to come out today? Or the squirrels or the chipmunks and things like that.
Yeah. And butterflies, of course. I love seeing
Oh,
butterflies.
butterflies. Yeah, my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, and dragonflies. And it's so interesting because it's not very typical to see dragonflies like in my garden because
Yeah.
they usually tend to be a lot around water. And I see
Right.
them, by rivers or creeks or whatever. And I have no water like near my
Yeah.
garden. So it's surprising when I see one. I was like, and one was hovering like around just my garden, just
Ooh.
constantly. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's when you really can feel like in I think it was last week. I don't think it's last week's podcast, but I was recording last week with somebody and we were talking about signs and how not everything is a sign.
Mm,
But when you feel it,
right.
that's when you know it's a sign.
Exactly. Yeah, when you interpret it as such, when you instantly like when you see something, you instantly think like, "Oh my gosh, that's got to have a deeper meaning for me." Then it does, So
Yeah,
I think if you feel it like that, if you feel that it has a special meaning for you or that you consider it a sign, then it is, I think.
I totally agree.
Mm.
So, Suzanne, I'd love to end this with, do you have any final messages for the listeners? And then where can people find you?
Yeah, I would love to let everyone that's listening to know you have so much inner power, inner strength, and inner magic that is just ready to be unleashed. And of course, I can help you do that. So, but I know that when you are dealing with anxiety, PTSD, trauma, when you're dealing with a lot of heavy things and negative emotions, it can be very difficult to see your own strength and your own worth. But please know that you have it within you and it's just waiting to come out. And yeah, you can find me on my website, which is my name is SusanneKooijman.com. And I have courses there. I have a body fullness session that I've recorded. I can do tarot readings for you. And if you have any questions, I have a contact email, which is contact@SusanneKooijman.com. You can ask me any questions and I'd be happy to help you with whatever comes up.
That's perfect. And do you have any offerings that you do? I know you do healing habits,
Mhm.
and you do the body mindfulness. Are there any other things that you offer?
Yeah, I have a tarot connection course as well. That I teach you how you can read your own tarot and how you can use the messages that come through the tarot to connect to your higher self and the divine. And I also do tarot readings for you. And right now I'm also working on a shadow work course, and that's going to be released somewhere in September or October. So
That's
within 1 or 2 months.
Oh, that sounds so great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, if anybody's interested in Suzanne's work or want to work with her, I will have all her links in the show notes. And as always, friends, have a great day and we'll see you on Monday.